On today's show, we're highlighting Tom and Joe's restaurant and hear from a local veteran. All that and more coming up now on Joy in the City True Stories. Joy in the City is a program highlighting people and organizations having an impact in our city. All too often, we hear about the problems and the dysfunction in our culture, but we are coming with a different approach as we take a look at the good things going on right here in our community. I'm Bethany Marshall, and you're about to see what God is doing in our city. We want to thank our program sponsors, Park Home, for the donation of furniture used in our studio, Made by Vogel for the contribution of many props in our studio, and our platinum sponsor, Harry's Construction, for their ongoing support of Joy in the City. Once a month, we are highlighting a native restaurant in our community which still exists today. Tom and Joe's has been in this area for over 80 years. Today, Teresa Miller sits down with George Batrus to discuss the history behind this iconic restaurant.
George, thank you so much for being here today. I know that you guys are crazy busy, and I just appreciate your presence with us today. Talk to us a little bit. I know that the restaurant's been around since 1933, so kind of give us a little bit of the backstory of Tom and Joe's.
Well, Tom and Joe started in 1933, like you said, but it was actually across the street from our current location. It was a house structure, and my understanding is the upstairs was actually used for some city meetings as well. And the downstairs was used as what was called Tom and Joe's Lunch at the time. And that was my grandfather, Tom, who started that in 1933. And then his brother got involved, which was Joe, and that's where the Tom and Joe's comes in to play. But his brother Joe did not stay in the area very long, and he left in the 40s, and basically it was my grandfather, Tom, who ran the business. We were in that location from 1933 till 1950, which we moved to our current location, but when we did, it was a small diner car. It was the City Hall diner that we took over, and we were in that location and in that structure. And then in 1956, the diner car was gone, and it was built basically the structure that everybody's more familiar with now, with the upper and lower dining room section. And then we added that back dining room on in 2012, I believe.
So were you always in line in succession to be the one to manage it?
No, I mean, I actually never got involved there until high school. The only time I went in was to eat, and that was about it up until then. I went to Penn State. I graduated Penn State with a double E degree. I did electrical engineering, and I worked out of the area in Maryland for a while for Department of Defense. But I would still come up and work a little bit on weekends through college and even after college. And while I was working in Maryland for the government, I kind of just, personally, I was like, you know what, I enjoy the restaurant so much more than my engineering work. It was too cubicle for me. I didn't have that social interaction. And when I came up, it was just so much more fun being in the restaurant environment. Actually, my parents were totally floored. They're like, when I told them, hey, listen, I think I'm leaving the government and I'm coming up to run the restaurant. And also, keep in mind, at that time, we weren't nearly as busy. My dad was older. He was kind of getting ready to retire or just kind of get out of the business. He was dealing with some health issues. And the last thing they expected for me to come back and say that to them. But I just felt like it was what I wanted to do. And I just enjoyed it. It was truly my passion, and I know that's kind of cliche to say, but that's what I did. And they did not expect me to do it. They never pushed me to do it. If anything, they pushed me not to do it. But I haven't looked back, and I've enjoyed it ever since.
In doing this series, I've talked to a few iconic restaurants in the city, and they're pretty much family affairs. They're family run, and they do well. And is that what you guys are? Is it pretty much family?
Yes. I mean, I've over the years being there, I've had multiple aunts working with me. I've had uncles working there, cousins. As time has gone on, most of the aunts that have worked there have retired or moved on. My mom still helps out, but she's kind of retired. Since COVID kind of took place, I kind of have her retired right now. But, I've right now currently I have my cousin still works there. Two cousins work there. I have my second cousin works there. My wife works there. My daughter. I mean, so it is a family affair, but we do have quite a few employees there that are not family. But most of the ones that are not family have been there long enough that they're basically kind of an extended family. So,
Tom and Joe's is like an experience all its own. It's loud.
Right.
Everybody's yelling, but orders but it's just such a fun environment. Yet it's a chaotic environment. Right. How do you navigate through that? It seems to work well.
Yeah, it does. I mean, ever since I can remember, I mean, it's always been yelling and communicate. I mean, that was my household growing up. I mean, that's how we communicated. And I know when my wife and I first started dating, she'd come over to my house and she's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "What do you mean? This is normal." So, but as far as the restaurant goes, I mean, that's just how we communicate. And it's just, it's like we put people into our own kitchen. And it just works. We over the years, as we've gotten busier, there's things I've put in place, like with the computers and some POS terminals, and there's other things we've done to help control the chaos. But really, at the end of the day, when you need something quickly, the best way to get it is just yell it out. I mean,
exactly.
Instead of going to a terminal or writing something down and turning a slip in, it's just, hey, just yell it out and you get it. It works. So.
It's kind of part of the entertainment.
It is,
actually. Yeah. So you guys got a new sign recently. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that was last year or the year before.
It was 2 years. Well, a year and a half about.
It was a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us a little bit about the meaning of that sign.
Well, one of the biggest things it's that sign. We had the old original neon sign that was put in place when we redid everything in 1956. Was still on the building when I got involved, 20 plus years ago. And it was always something I always wanted to get redone. So, I finally got to the point where, I had some people in place that could get the work done, and we had new neon tubes put in. We had the electricity run, and, and we had it repainted, and we were able to use all the original lettering that was on there. So it's really the original sign, just repainted and with new neon tubes. And to me, it was always a big deal because I felt like that neon sign I always wanted to get that done. It was like one of the big things I've always wanted to do, and we finally got that done.
Great, that's good. And it looks amazing.
Thanks.
It looks amazing. Now, COVID hits, everybody's in a quandary, it does a number on the restaurant business. Mm-hmm. How'd you survive?
Well, initially I didn't know what to do, obviously, like anybody, because I remember sitting to this day, I remember it was March 16th, it was Monday, I was talking to some people, like, what's going to happen, and finally, that was the afternoon when Governor Wolf said, listen, no more dine-in service, just takeouts, and I already had my employees I gave them a heads up, I said, listen, if it goes to straight takeout only, we're not ready for that yet, that's not us. Like you said, part of the Tom and Joe's experience is being inside the restaurant and hearing and seeing everything happen. So to go just take out, I feel like it just took the air out of our balloon kind of thing. It wouldn't be us. So I got all the employees all the information they needed to start doing unemployment. And once the dust settled and I was aware of some government programs, whether it be the PPP stuff and just EIDL loans, just once I started to get familiar with what was available, that helped us get through. We were closed for 4 months. So, at the end of the day, other than the biggest pain really was I remember after about a month settled and I realized, hey, this is going to be longer than just the 2 weeks or whatever. I remember going in there, clearing the place out. There wasn't 1 ounce of food. I mean, a restaurant, it's so difficult to scale down and then scale back up. I mean, there's so much stuff that goes in place. I mean, it's not like it's not like a retail sector where you buy merchandise and put it on display the next day. I mean, it's not like that. And there's so much that goes involved with opening and shutting down or reopening. So, I spent days and days of clearing everything out. Everything was empty, no food. And then when it comes to reopening, I mean, it takes days and days to get food in and prep and get ready for it. So, some of the government programs definitely helped us get through those 4 months. And then once we opened back up, I don't think we didn't lose anybody. Everybody was willing to come back to work. We got everybody back, and over time, as the capacity levels went back up, we just went with the flow of that. And the only little snafu in there was, I think, over Christmas to New Year's. They cut back down again, so that made it a little tricky, and it was just takeout. But I did it because, like I said, it's so hard because I knew it was only 2 weeks. At least at the time, I was hoping that's all it was. So it's too hard to close down for 2 weeks and then open back up. I mean, there's too much food involved, too much inventory. It's just too hard to do that. So we did do it then. But
So the new section outside, kind of like a waiting area, was that due to COVID or?
It had a double purpose. It was due to COVID, but it also helped with just weatherization of the building. Because with COVID, we had to limit entry and exit into our building. So I had to have everybody coming in the lower door, just to help with traffic flow. I didn't want people passing each other in entrances and exits. So all the entrances have to come, everybody entering the building comes in that lower room. And then when they leave, we prefer they go outside. So it's just one big circle, in and out. So with that being said, obviously I had people out there. I mean, it's getting cold, it's winter. So then I did have to kind of, I enclosed it fully. And we also put a takeout window in. So that was all done basically due to COVID, between weatherizing the entryway for people to stand before coming in, just so we didn't have so many people inside the building. And we also, on the other end of that, have a takeout window, so people that don't have to come in the building to pick up takeout orders, they can just, kind of like a Dairy Queen slider, I compare it to,
Right. And when I was there last, we were so grateful for that because we didn't have to wait outside.
Right.
Yeah, it was awesome. So pretend I've never been to Tom and Joe's. I'm new to town and I come in. What are you known for? What is the one thing I want? I think I know the answer to this question,
right.
but I want to hear what you have to say.
No, I would probably say the mess,
yes,
most likely.
That's what I was going to say.
So that, I mean, and that's, that's probably our trademark, and we're catering a lunch just coming up Thursday, and I've been giving this office couple options, and one option they say every week, everybody loves the mess, and what's nice is everybody can tailor it however they want, so you can do a mess by itself, and I try to tell this to everybody, and it really at the end of the day is just eggs and home fries, and then whatever you want to add to it is what makes it. So obviously we have a mess with everything that's all 3 meats: bacon, ham, and sausage, onion, pepper, cheese, and probably that's the #1 mess that's ordered. And then, but also people can tailor it, just like ham and cheese if they don't like veggies, or if they want all veggies. So that's probably our #1 thing for breakfast. And the other thing is we have a lot of specialty omelets. People, I've heard people say, boy, I never heard of that. For example, we have a buffalo chicken omelet, we have a cheesesteak omelet, and an Italian omelet, which is pepperoni, cheese, and sauce. Some of those things are you don't typically see everywhere, but some neat little omelets that add some different flavors in with the eggs.
Well, George, I really appreciate you coming today, and I had such a hard time getting a hold of you, but this series would not have even been close to complete without you being here, so thank you so much.
Well, I really appreciate you having me, and I appreciate you even thinking of me to have here for part of the series. So.
My pleasure.
Thank you.
If you know a person or organization impacting our city, we want to hear about it. You can contact us at 814-944-1948 or by email at stories@jointhecity.org.
Today's Platinum sponsor is Harry's Construction, whose motto is, "If you can dream it, we can create it." Recently opening Harry's Construction Kitchen and Bath Center so you, the consumer, can see examples of the variety of services provided by the team at Harry's Construction. Regardless of the project size, Harry's team approaches each project as if it is his own home. Be sure to visit Harry's Construction Kitchen and Bath Center at 114 Main Street in Bellwood. You can also visit their website to see pictures of home improvement projects over the years. Thanks again to Harry Halk and the team for supporting Joy in the City.
Made by Vogel is a father and son business that produces high-quality handmade wooden products such as cutting boards, bowls, bottle stoppers and more. Products for sale can be found on their Etsy site or in downtown Altoona at the Clay Cup. You can't go wrong buying from Made by Vogel.
In honor of this Independence Day, we will be talking with Lloyd Peck, an active duty U.S. Marine from 1948 to 1959, who served on the front lines in Korea. Today, Lloyd's passion is to make sure veterans are aware of services, aware of outreach, and how to get the care they deserve. Listen as he shares his story.
So thanks for being here with us today, Commander Peck. And I want to just start this interview out by getting a little bit of your military background.
Okay. Well, I joined the service November 1948, took basic training, became an officer, was stationed in Japan when the Korean War broke out. I was practically one of the first units sent to Korea. I was there a little over 2.5 years. Then I was sent back to Japan. And after about 4 months in Japan, I was sent back to the States. Then after that, I was sent to Germany for 2.5 years. And then from Germany, I was sent to England for 2 years. Then I was sent back to, and I finished my service back in the States at Camp Lejeune, Marine Corps base.
And that's where you finished?
Yes.
Yes. So you have quite the resume of things that you do in our community for veterans.
Right.
Just kind of talk about a few of those briefly of what you do.
Well, I have 10 years command of Blair County War Veterans Council. I do the Memorial and Veterans Day parades. I'm doing for 10 years. I also belong to the Blair County Honor Guard, which I do military funerals. I work with the VA to help veterans get their benefits. I work with all local officials, elected officials, that I need stuff off of. I work with them very close. I have breakfast every Veterans Memorial Day. We generally have a breakfast before the parade and stuff like that. I'm service officer for the American Legion in Holliesburg, Post 516. I belong to the Veterans of Foreign War, 8724 in Duncansville, and I belong to the Catholic War Veterans Council.
That's a lot of things.
Yes.
We talked earlier that you are going to be 90 in December.
December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day.
I know, how ironic, right? And I'm just so impressed of all of these things that you're able to do. Being as though Sunday is the 4th of July, Independence Day,
Right.
what does that day mean for you?
That means a lot for me. Independence Day is a day of freedom for America, and I hope that continues.
It's tough.
It's really tough.
It's tough when you see people, athletes, and just different people, you know, turning their back on the flag
Right.
for whatever reason, you know.
Well, what really gets me is when we have parades, and I see little kids waving flags on the parade route, or people doing like this. I enjoy that.
I know. I'm from a very patriotic hometown in Wellsburg, West Virginia, and patriotism, I just grew up in that. It's just ingrained in who I am. So I honor you. I cannot believe what you're accomplishing still yet.
Thank you.
Yes. Now, I heard that you were on a new committee for the 20th anniversary for September 11th.
Yes, I am.
Talk to me a little bit about what that's going to be.
Well, it's going to be at the Jaffa Mosque, September the 20th. I believe it starts at 7 o'clock. I'm doing the military stuff. And then we'll have the flag ceremony for the 5 branches. I have the Marine Corps Honor Guard coming, which will lead it in. And then from there on, I have no idea what's going on. Maybe Todd knows, I don't.
Yep, that's why we have a committee, right?
Right.
Yep, everybody has their part.
I also would like to mention, I get a lot of phone calls from out of Blair County about how good our parades are. We have people from Huntington, Cameron County, Bedford, Breezewood, all outside that come into our parades. And that makes me very happy.
You should be very proud.
Thank you.
Very proud. You said to me earlier that you are recognized for your ball cap.
Right,
Yeah.
my Marine hat.
Yes.
Everybody recognized me that. I was Sunday downtown at the thing that Todd had, and people recognized me from my hat.
Very nice. Very
Okay.
nice. So, what's your plans for the 4th of July?
Probably go to my daughter's,
Yeah.
and we'll have a cookout, hamburger, hot dogs, stuff like that.
Very good. Very good. Well, I want to thank you for being here today. It is my honor
Thank
to
you.
spend this time with you. It truly is my honor.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honored also at the ballpark, I understand. I got a call Friday.
Oh my
So I don't know
goodness.
when that's gonna be.
You talked about cutting back
Well,
because of your age, but it
Yeah.
doesn't sound like you're doing that.
well, I enjoy what I do,
Yeah.
especially for the community. And everybody's so nice about it. So I want to say that. Thank everybody for coming out for the parades and stuff.
Yes. And thank you for being here.
You're welcome.
As we close out today's show, here are a few thoughts from our director, Troy Ferguson.
They say sharing is caring. Today's motivational thought dives into social sharing on purpose. You see, most of us, if you're watching this on Facebook, are familiar with social media, familiar with Facebook at least, and we understand that likes and shares are very valuable in the social media marketing realm. That's no different for churches and ministries alike. And I want to talk a little bit about sharing on social media. You see, one of the elements that is challenging right now is we are in a very self-promotional culture with the selfie generation and with creating things that talk about what I'm doing. The challenge with that is in the faith culture, we are actually not supposed to do that as much as maybe we see in today's culture. As a matter of fact, let me read a scripture. Proverbs 27:2 says this, "Let someone else praise you and not from your own mouth. An outsider, not from your own lips." That tells us that if we do something that is praiseworthy, if you will, it is supposed to be someone else who tells about it, who shares about it. But today, we all share our own stuff. And I'm not against that. Matter of fact, this scripture and this mindset is a little challenging for me because I am of the mentality of we need to self-promote. We need to share who we are and what we're about so people understand what we do. So I'm not coming against people who take selfies, people who share. I even do it myself, and it's a challenge. In our staff, we've talked about this quite extensively, how to do this effectively in our culture without it being about ego, agenda, or pride. But my challenge today is not to be a wet blanket on those who share, but my purpose today is to actually encourage you to share. Let me explain. If you see something that a brother or sister posts and you think it's valuable for other people to see or hear, let me encourage you to share that post, share that video, share the content that has been put out there that has been beneficial to you. Therefore, you are actually using your platform to praise another. The benefit of this is we can encourage one another, we can actually impact their social media algorithm, and we can inspire people around us, and it's not just about what we say or do. Many of us recently have utilized social media, whether it be Facebook Live, YouTube Live, Instagram Live. One of these arenas we have used to put our services or an inspirational message or a live stream of what we do online for all to see. But what I want to do today is encourage you to like and or share your brother's post, to like another church's post, to encourage them, to give comment to what God is doing in their ministry. Let me encourage you, if you go to a church locally and you enjoy the content that your church puts online, share that information on your personal Facebook page, on your personal Instagram. That way it impacts the algorithm for your church, for your church's social, for your ministry to be enhanced in impacting many others who may not get that message otherwise. I have found on multiple occasions where someone from our church shares the message or an inspirational thought or a quote or a video with somebody on their Facebook page, and we hear testimonies from people that aren't even connected to us. What I want to encourage you to do is do that for other churches in our community. Like their Facebook page, become fans of their social media, share the content that you feel has been beneficial to you so others can do this as well. Can I give a perfect example of this? My friend, Pastor Derek Howman from Vineyard Church, has on many occasions liked and maybe even shared something that I've posted, whether it be personally, whether it be on Join the City or our church's page. He truly comes alongside to encourage churches in our community, and I know he does it to many other churches as well. Just like Pastor Derek, let me encourage you to do something similar for your church, for your brothers and sisters in the churches of our community, so that they are benefiting from what you have seen and heard through their ministry. We've heard sharing is caring. Indeed it is. And I want to encourage you, so your church, your pastor, your staff doesn't have to share their church's information all the time. Let me encourage you to share it. Let me encourage you to like it. Let me encourage you to comment on it. If it ministers to you, if it impacts you, share that information, especially now in this day and age when we are so bound up with not being able to interact with people. This is one way we can inspire people all around us, even if it's not from our own mouth. Let me encourage you to do that today. Go share someone's Facebook page. Go share someone's Instagram post. Let them know that you are blessed by what they put out. And in turn, we will see God bless you by what you put out. Let them speak on your behalf, just like you have spoken on their behalf. Now go have a blessed day.
If you have a personal story you'd be willing to share with our community, we'd love to chat with you about it. Please contact us at 814-944-1948 or by email at stories@jointhecity.org. That's all the time we have today. Thanks for watching Join the City True Stories. Let me encourage you to watch other episodes of people and organizations having an impact on our community on ABC 23 at 5:30 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. every Sunday. You can also catch us each week on our Facebook page and YouTube channel. Until then, be encouraged because God is moving in our city.
Today's Platinum sponsor is Harry's Construction, whose motto is, "If you can dream it, we can create it." Recently opening Harry's Construction Kitchen and Bath Center so you, the consumer, can see examples of the variety of services provided by the team at Harry's Construction. Regardless of the project size, Harry's team approaches each project as if it is his own home. Be sure to visit Harry's Construction Kitchen and Bath Center at 114 Main Street in Bellwood. You can also visit their website to see pictures of home improvement projects over the years. Thanks again to Harry Halk and the team for supporting Joy in the City.